It's a 2023-2024 season preview of the Houston Rockets next on The Dime.
You are now listening to The Dime with Josh and Kwab, your go-to NBA podcast. Subscribe on Apple, follow on Spotify, and be sure to hit up the YouTube channel for video content. And now your hosts, Josh and Kwab.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Dime. Today, we preview the 2023-2024 Houston Rockets, a team that a lot of people feel have the potential to not just make the play-in, but the playoffs as well. And we're doing it with the host of the Bradeaux and Will Show. Everybody, please welcome to The Dime for the first time. It's Will Fortson. Will, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I was looking forward to doing this today, so appreciate y'all having me on the show.
I don't know if you remember how we met, but you messaged me about a trade about the Knicks and Rockets. I'm a Knicks fan.
I need to look back at that, actually. Let me go look at the trade.
I don't know if you're running a space or whatnot, but then I joined the space. I heard you talk, and I enjoy your tweets, man. I mean, you are literally how I keep up with the Houston Rockets. I'm not going to lie. So that's a large responsibility.
A long time ago.
Yeah, man.
I didn't realize it was that long ago.
Yeah, so when I thought Rockets, I was like, let me get this guy on. It'd be good to talk to him.
Okay, and I see what I was trying to do here. I was trying to get pick 11 from y'all. I see what was going on. I see what I was trying to do.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
I'm good. Thank y'all for having me. Like I said, I was looking forward to this. So I'm ready to talk Rockets.
All right, here we go. Well, we're going to get started by taking a stroll down NBA Twitter.
Did you just? I can't believe. Yes, you really tweeted that out. NBA Twitter, you are undefeated.
This is where I take 3 tweets on my timeline I presented to our guests, and we actually have a debate, discussion, whatever it is about the tweets that we want to talk about, we do it. Will, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, first tweet comes from Bradeaux at BTheMan06, and he says, Jaylen Green after next season will be in the convo for the 4th best shooting guard in the league. He will be a top 5 shooting guard, though, after next season. #Rockets. Now, where are you on Jalen Green? His ceiling, all that good stuff, and this is top 5 shooting guard. A little bit too optimistic.
I answered the first part first. I'm still sky high on Jalen Green's ceiling. Like, to me, nothing's really has changed as far as how I felt about him pre-draft. If you look at what he's done in his first 2 seasons and compare it to a lot of the guys who are at the top of his archetype and his position in the NBA right now, the Devin Bookers, Anthony Edwards, Zach LaVine's, Bradley Beals, like he's on pace and in some cases ahead of those guys in certain departments to be, in those same echelons in terms of his first 2 seasons. I'm not saying he's going to be Devin Booker or, those guys, but just saying that like through their first 2 seasons, he's on pace, right? And then you also have to factor, I think he was in one of, if not the worst situation for him and for his archetype and for just any type of young player to develop. His first 2 seasons, we had a questionable coaching. There wasn't as much point guard play. There was vets in and out the locker room all the time. There really wasn't any consistency. It was just a whole lot going on that would, I think it would be hard for any young player to really see any success or consistency on their own in that type of environment. And I think kind of despite that, he's still on pace. So no, I feel the same way about him. And now he's in a situation where there is, brought a new coach. There's vets in the locker room now. There's point guard play. There's an expectation to win now. He's going into year 3, which is usually the year where a lot of these young guys start to manifest into the star talent that they are. So I'm still really sky high on Jalen. In terms of being top 5 by the end of the season, if Brown and Maxey don't count, unless I'm forgetting somebody, I could see him being number 5.
He got the potential. I could see him being. I don't think he'll probably be no higher than 5 though. That's not a problem to me. He's 22, 23 next season. And so just being, I guess, in that conversation would be enough for me to be happy with his 3rd year in the NBA.
Is there anything personally you want to see him improve on? Since like every year he's improved, even in the situation he's been in. But is there anything specifically in this 3rd year you want to see him get better at? I
want to see him take more pride defensively. I'll be blunt. He's been a terrible defender his first 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. Now he has been. Okay. There have been times where he's been, I would say, a positive defender, but it's never been consistent at all. Like if you ask me to grade him in totality as a defender, I'd say he's been terrible. But there have been times where. Like I remember down the stretches, there were games where, we were locked in a battle and we needed Jalen to strap up defensively, and he was able to do it. So I know he's capable. I think the biggest thing for him is, one, he wasn't that strong his first 2 seasons in the NBA, especially that rookie season. I remember it was a possession preseason where he tried to guard Jimmy Butler. Butler just pushed him,
Oof.
like just moved.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he stood no
Oh,
chance at all. So like part of the problem was that he wasn't strong, and not to make excuses for him, because I do think at the end that he still has to be better defensively, but he was never asked to be good defensively, and not even just never. Not only was he never asked, he also wasn't like expected to. That was part of the reason we wanted a change in the head coach department, was because there really wasn't any accountability with the young guys, particularly on the defensive end. Like there would be times where I'm watching Jalen, like I said, who I know he's shown me, he won't be a great defender in year 1, year 2, but he's shown me he can try and be, as close to as solid as you can expect from him, in year 1, year 2, and he won't do it. And it's like, why would you? If you know that if I'm going to play 30 minutes, 35 minutes a night, no matter if I try or if I don't, like, I'm gonna save my energy for these buckets. I'm not finna care about defense. And so like I think now he's gonna finally have that. He has a defensive minded head coach first and foremost. Like Ime Udoka is definitely going to get that out of him. But there is the expectation to start winning, and Udoka is the type of guy to hold people accountable. And so I think that now that he's finally in an environment where they're going to expect him to play defense, they're going to hold him accountable on that end. Like I said, he's a lot stronger now. He's going into his third season, so his NBA frame is a little bit more filled out than it was when he first came into the league. And I think he's capable. I don't think he's ever going to be like a super great defender, but I think he can be a neutral. Right? Like I think worst case scenario, he can be neutral defensively. And so I just want to see him get closer to being a neutral. Like I pretty much want him to be a neutral this year, honestly. But I don't know how much I can expect from him in that department.
Well, Ime, I mean, he's gonna he's gonna have to say about that. Ime gonna make sure, bro.
Yeah, facts.
Let's move on to tweet number 2. Comes from the guy Ben at the guy Ben _18. He says Alperen Sengun literally has the potential to be the Turkish Jokic. That's high praise. That's a large ceiling. It's a high ceiling. Do you think he's capable of fulfilling that ceiling?
I don't know if it's too soon to say, but I mean, I think he might be the best Turkish NBA player of all time already. If not him, I mean, because it's not that long of a list.
Yeah, we got Hito, right? Is Hito Turkish?
If it's not Sengun, it's Hito. If he's not the best, he's literally on his way. He's going to pass Hito very soon. So, yeah, I think he can be. I don't know if it's fair to say he can become an MVP. Like Jokic is a different beast. He's probably a top 25, 30 player of all time at this point.
Already. It might be more than that by the time his career's done.
Yeah, he's insane. So I don't know if it's fair to say he'll be Jokic, but I could see another guy who's kind of in that same mode, Sabonis. I could see him being in that Sabonis tier, right? Like especially I talked about Jalen being pace to pace. Sengun's actually ahead of Sabonis at this age. And I know there's different circumstances. Like I think Sabonis was got traded, came off the bench. So it was, things are a little bit different for Sabonis, but yeah, like at this age, he's actually ahead of Sabonis. So I think he could be, definitely all-star caliber guy, one of the best bigs in the NBA. The question for him, I think even more than Jalen, is just can he survive defensively? I think that's going to be the biggest determining factor. Because I think offensively, there's very few people I think I should be concerned about offensively. He's already really freaking good offensively, and that was in a situation where. Same thing I said with Jalen. There really wasn't any expectations to win. There was no structure. I think more than Jalen, Sengun was put in a place to the organization had that guy coming off the bench to start our season this year. So I think he was in more than anybody else, he was in a really good situation. And despite that, he was able to be, in my opinion, the best player on our roster last year. And so offensively, I'm not concerned about him in the slightest. It's simply just, can he stay on the floor defensively?
When a team's losing, a lot of people don't get to watch the Rockets, and you watch. You're a fan, so you watch the team every time. So, do people not realize how talented he is as a big man?
I don't think people realize how good. Because one, I'll be honest with you, to a casual fan, you probably wouldn't be as interested in watching when he's on a losing team. But he doesn't jump particularly. Although he does have some posters. He got
a couple. Yeah, he has some. Yeah, he got some.
I will give him that. But he's not jumping out the gym. He's not swatting stuff off the glass. He's not, he's not most NBA fans aren't really there to see between the legs assist. They want to see LeBron dunk on somebody. They want to see Steph Curry shoot from half court. And that's not what Sengun does. And like I said, he's on a bad team, so we're probably not even watching that much anyways. But I think the people who do watch him, Like if you ask like a lot of the NBA players, Kevin Durant said it, Giannis said it, Ant said it. A lot of the NBA players like, yeah, that guy's talented. And I think people who actually sit down and watch him, and who understand what they're watching, not just watch him, but like understand like, yo, 6'10", 6'11" guys this young should not be able to pass the ball the way that he does. They shouldn't be able to, the touch he has around the rim, the footwork he already, like there are guys who work for years to get to where his footwork is right now. And so, yeah, like I said, I think, and then like all the advanced numbers back it up too. Like if you look at all the advanced statistics, they all backed it. Like, yeah, this guy on a bad team is somehow a positive player. So yeah, I think people are definitely like, I think he might be one of the most slept on players in the, like, as a matter of fact, I know this is a hot take. I think he's already a top 10 center in the league. Like especially if the defense holds up, I think he's top 10 right now.
Now, one thing I did see on Rockets Twitter from last year, if I'm not mistaken, was how the offense was run. I know a lot of people wanted the offense to be run through Sengun more than it was. I know that, the ball was in Jalen Green's hands a lot, KPJ's hands a lot. But how do you feel? Do you think it's a situation where you can actually run the offense through him, like similar to Jokic in Denver? Or is it something where it's like, I like him, but I would rather run through Jalen. I would rather run through our guards. Like if you were Udoka, how would you do this?
I'd have 100% run it through Sengun. I think that when Jalen's at his best, like if you go back and look at a lot of the games where Jalen drops, X amount of points on X amount of efficiency, if you go back and watch those games, especially like the highlights, a lot of times you'll notice that Sengun's either setting a screen for him to score, doing something off ball for him to score, or straight up giving him the ball so he can score. Like just about every highlight you look at, Sengun's somehow involved in Jaylen Green getting that bucket. And so I think that when Sengun's at his best, it makes everyone, particularly a guy like Jaylen Green, I think he's going to be even better. Their two-man game last season was like very underutilized, but it was like the only offensive set that we had. I think it was, it was on super low volumes. We didn't really use it, but it was the only offensive set that we had that actually produced good offense, right? It was the only one.
Yeah.
So I think that I would 100% like use him as an offensive hub, let him kind of dictate the offense like 3 times as much as he did last year, honestly. I know we have Fred VanVleet now, who, he's a point guard. He can kind of set the table himself. But one of the things that Fred's really good at, we saw it with Fred and Yak or Proto last year. Like Fred can really run the pick and roll with the big. So I think I think some form or fashion of the two-man game with Fred and Sengun or Jalen and Sengun should be like the like bread and butter of our team next year. And I'm not opposed to literally just giving him the ball at the top of the key and saying, figure it out. Like somebody cut, somebody spot up, like he'll figure it out.
All right, let's go to our final tweet. It comes from Putting Up Points Podcast at Putting Up Points. And they say, Jabari Smith poised for most improved contention after Summer League breakout. I was at Summer League, bro. And Jabari looked like he did not belong on the court, bro. Like he had no business being there. Like get your ass back to Houston. Work out because you're too good to be here. I'm sure as a Rockets fan, that had to feel great for you. How do you feel about this most improved? Is that too far? Is that too much? Or do you think that he could actually win that award or be put up for that award?
What I want to say, I as unbiased as I can, I know my Twitter handle's biased, Houston, but as unbiased as I can be,
It's literally biased, Houston.
I think that Rockets fans, I'm not going to say we're the best, but I think we have to be top 5 because when I tell you we had probably close to 100 people pull up to a Bombshells in Katy, it's close to Houston, to watch that Summer League game where Jabari hit that game winner. 100 people in that room to watch that game. And when he hit that game winning 3, you would have sworn we won the NBA championship with how like everybody like screaming, running, people was running to the parking lot. They like the waitresses probably had no idea what just happened, like with how much people were screaming. So I think we got to be like minimum top 5 best fan bases in the world. But he was like phenomenal. And to be fair, if he wasn't, I was going to be concerned. Like if he wasn't as dominant as he was, I was going to be like, all right, man, like you're what? Number 3 overall pick. You already have a year of NBA experience under your belt. Like this should be easy for you. And so it was, right? Most improved has that ever been predicted?
It's properly? Not most improved. It's almost like, oh, you look really nice. Like that's what it's like. Someone who was nice, then it's like, oh, you nice. Like that's the award now.
What Lauri Markkinen won? Was it Lauri who won it last year?
Morant. Yeah. Laurie Warren last
John
year.
Morant, yeah, he did win it, and I don't think he should have won
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
that was already nice.
He didn't think he should have won it. He
Yeah.
gave it.
Yeah, he
He
gave it
gave
to
it to
Bane.
his teammate. Yeah, he gave it
shouldn't
to
have.
Bane.
And then do you remember one of the year before that?
That I don't know. I don't have the list on me right now. But it's turned into like he nice, like not you've improved more than
I was gonna say they don't really like most improved is it's kind of just the outside of John Morant winning it for some reason. It's kind of just a player who come out of nowhere, right? Who like over exceeds expectations like by tenfold. And I don't think that Jabari is gonna do that. I think that he's gonna be I think he's gonna be improved next year. Like I think he's going to be a lot better. I'm praying that like his jumper kind of regresses to where it was, or not regresses, I guess progresses to the way it was in college, closer to that than where it is right now. And I think that like his defense is going to be better. He's a bit stronger. He has another year of NBA experience under his belt. So I expect him to be much improved. I don't think he's going to take a super duper leap to win MIP, and I also don't think he's going to even get like the usage to do that on the Rockets.
Okay.
But that's not like a slight at him and all. I think it's just kind of where it is with him. But I think he's gonna be good next year.
The games I watched, I always felt watching Jabari, I was like, some of the shots he was taking, it felt like he was taking shots were like, I'm not gonna touch the ball, so I gotta get this up type of shots. Was his rookie season a product of just like, I guess the dysfunction in the system that was there, or was it just like him having to adjust to the NBA style of play, in your opinion?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like we admittedly did not do too much to help him succeed when he was struggling. Like we kind of just left him out there to struggle. So I will say, and then like the point guard play could have been a bit better. Particularly, I think no one was hurt more by the point guard play than Jabari was, because he didn't know when his shots were going to come. He wasn't getting the best quality of look. So I think those combination of things didn't really help him succeed. But at the same time, the way he was, because I know a lot of people were like, well, you should have moved to the post, you should have moved to the mid-range. And I do think that like at a certain point in time, you have to adapt, you have to adjust. But mid-range offense isn't the best offense. Like that's not the you know what I'm saying? That's not, unless you're like Kevin Durant or Devin Booker, you probably shouldn't be shooting, that many fadeaways and stuff like that. And then like he was drafted to be a sniper, like to be the guy who's like knocked down from three. So I think they used him the way he was supposed to be used. He just struggled at it. And I do think that there were some things we could have did to help get him going and get him better looks. But I mean, you got to make your open looks. You know what I'm saying? Like I shouldn't have to, run 15 plays for you in the first quarter so you can make an open three. Like I should, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's a combination of both. But I think Jabari would tell you like he just has to be better.
All right, that's going to do it for the tweets. And before we move on to the actual offseason that the Rockets had, I do want to hit on Tari Eason really quick, because he came out of, I wouldn't say came out of nowhere, but he was a surprise for a lot of people who weren't Rockets fans. Talk about him and what do you think his role going forward is going to be with this team?
Yeah, Tari, same thing. Another funny thing about him is like we manifested him on a Rockets jersey. Like that was, I don't remember who I was trying to trade up for when I don't remember who that was. But, I wonder if it was. I don't think it was, but I do know that it like pick 17. That's where we got him. In 2022. We were like the whole season. We were Paolo Banchero at 3, Tari at 17. That was the perfect draft. Him. We wanted to like we were talking about Tari Eason the whole like draft cycle.
You were right.
Yeah, we got him. We got and so like one, it was kind of crazy that like we manifest. It's like we kind of did the same with Cam Whitmore this year, but to manifest a guy like that.
I can't believe Cam fell to yelling. We'll talk. I'm sorry.
I'm not. That's going to be.
Go ahead.
That's going to get.
We'll talk Tari.
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
I can talk about Cam. We manifested him, so like it was really cool to see that play out the way that it did. And then like his mom is really, really active in our community. She was at that watch party, the summer league watch party. So like she's really cool people. That's awesome. Yeah, he's really good family. Like we love him in Houston. And so like you said, he was surprising. To me, he wasn't. Like this is what I thought. This is what I knew he could do. Like I knew that he was going to be. I think he was a lot better. He's a lot better rebounder than I thought. Like I didn't think he was going to be as good as he was rebounding. But the dog mentality he brings, just going out there and finding ways to impact the game, and not necessarily with his scoring, just like He's the type of guy he'll jump into the stands for the ball. He'll dive for a loose ball. He'll reach. You know what I'm saying? He has the quickness to shoot out the corner and stop a ball from getting there. Like he's the real deal on that front. I think he has such a solid foundation. He started out, in my opinion, like I think if I was an NBA GM and I could pull one player from the Rockets to come to my team and to help me win right now, I would get Tari.
Yeah.
I would get him right now. So
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I think he was maybe the rebounding. He was like way better at that than I kind of expected him to be. Other than that, like, this is what I knew he was getting Tari. That's why I wanted him.
That's what's up. That's perfect.
All right, let's move on to the offseason that they had. You get Fred VanVleet, Dillon Brooks, who's a podcast favorite, Jeff Green, Jock Landale. Let's start with Fred. Actually, you know what? I want to start with this. You have a young core. You bring in Udoka. Do you think this was too quick to bring in so many veterans who are going to have such a big role on this team? Or do you think this is the right time to kind of start getting things going to build around this core?
I think they made the right decision this offseason.
Okay.
We can talk about it in terms of like what I would have done in terms of like who we brought in. But I think the decision to bring in veterans this offseason, like 100% was the right move. I like that the guys that they decided to keep, our core six of Jalen, Jabari, Sengun, Tari, Min, and Cam. Like I like that core six of guys, and then surrounding them with the necessary vets and resources for them to kind of be uplifted and kind of, I won't say carry the team, but like they're the future. Like we're saying that like, yo, we're gonna go as far as y'all take us, in 2, 3, 4 years. I think this was the right time to do it. We probably should have had some more like locker room presences before this, but
yeah.
In terms of I think we made the right decision to go, especially considering we don't own our draft pick this year. It's top 4 protected in OKC, so kind of being bad really wasn't gonna help us this year at all.
It makes no sense to tank this year.
Yeah, we can't tank this year. So I think this is the right time to do it.
What were your feelings on the Fred signing?
I put out a tweet maybe in like April, probably April, and I said who were some players that we do not want the Rockets to sign, and it was unanimously like everybody said it.
Wow.
I'll send this to y'all when I'm done. I'll find this tweet. I'll send it to y'all when we're done. Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks. Everybody said it. I promise you. Everyone. It was unanimous. There wasn't like a, hey guys, we're gonna vote Fred for here. Like there wasn't
right. There was like no campaign for
coordination, nothing.
Yeah.
Everybody said we do not want Fred, we do not want Dillon Brooks. And so I didn't really want Fred. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't the biggest fan of him because I knew he was gonna get paid, and I didn't think he was worth what he was about to get paid. But at the same time, and mind you, when the deal first broke, it straight up said like 3 years. Was it like 130, something like that? 3 years, 130. And I was like, dude,
it was bad. Yeah,
I was like, bro, because I this whole time I'm thinking it's gonna be like 4 120.
Yeah,
bro, 3 130. I was like, no. So I was distraught. But then I saw I had someone sent me the text that says, hey, it's a player option. Don't say nothing, but it's a player option. Oh, it's a team option. So like it's just 2 years. You don't trip too much. So once I was like, okay, I get it. You overpaid him because you just wanted him for 2 years. Yeah, you got money. I was like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. And I have my gripes with him as a player, but like, no, he does what he's supposed to do for us, right? He's going to be a stabilizing act at the point guard position. I think people think he's an elite defender. I don't think he's elite, but he is. He's a plus. He's a good defender,
right?
And that's going to help Udoka, who wants to run a more he wants to be more defensive active this season than we were in previous years. So I think that's going to help. And he's capable of playing a little bit on and off ball. He's a really good pick and roll ball handler. That's like I said, I think he's actually like really really good at. And so like I wasn't necessarily my preferred outcome, but like I'm definitely like once I got past the crap, it's 3 years, 130. Like once I was like, okay, it's just 2 + 1. We had to spend the money. He's gonna come in, and like I think I guess we can talk about it later. I think another underrated aspect of a guy like Fred is that I think Amen's gonna be better learning behind him for a year. Like I think Amen wasn't gonna necessarily be ready to come in and lead an NBA offense from day one. So being able to learn from someone who's a bit more experienced at the position and not have that pressure to perform off the jump, I think it's going to be better for him in the long run too. So Yeah, and like I said, it's just 2 years. It's expiring after 1 year. You might keep him, you might not. Who knows? But no, like I think like in the grand scheme of things, it was a better signing than it was a bad one.
Are you ready to defend Dillon Brooks' actions on Twitter?
I'm gonna have to, I've actually started somewhat doing so because I think that they're so transparency didn't want him at all. Like,
right. I don't think anybody wanted him. Let's be honest.
Like Fred, I wasn't the biggest Fred VanVleet guy. I didn't really want him, but like, okay, whatever.
You can tell me on Fred, championship point guard. Okay, fine.
Right, cool.
Yeah,
whatever.
You can't sell him on. You can sell him on Dillon Brooks.
I didn't want that guy for a penny. I wouldn't pay him a minimum. I didn't want him at all, bro. I was like, I don't understand why we want him so bad. And then when we paid him, like once ending with Fred, I'm thinking it's going to be because he didn't really, I guess didn't have the biggest market. The Grizzlies told him he couldn't come back. So I'm thinking, okay, we finna give him like 3 years for like 12, 13, like MLE money. Bro, he got like 20 million, 20. I was like, for 4 years, bro.
They give him
man.
So
they give him a good bag.
I'm not the biggest fan. Like even at this moment, I'm still not the biggest fan of the signing. I'm like 100% not a fan of his contract, like at all. Like I don't like that at all. But I think I asked for the kind of somewhat defending him because I do think that the narratives around him in FIBA was pretty bad. I think people were trying to act like he was trash in FIBA, and he was really good in FIBA. So
no, he wasn't trash at all. No.
Yeah. So I was like, if we're gonna call him trash, like let's call him trash for like what he's actually trash at. He wasn't trash in FIBA. So that kind of I found myself defending him a little bit there. But but yeah, I mean, he's on my team now. I kind of just got to do it.
You got no other choice, bro.
Yeah, you got to do it. I think that if you're able, because the biggest issue with him is he shoots low 30s, but he thinks he's Steph Curry. That's the biggest issue.
And he shoots a lot too.
Yeah, and you shoot a lot. You shoot a lot, and you shoot a lot of bad, difficult shots, and you're not even good at the open ones. So like that's the biggest issue with him. Like I'm going all over the place, but I'm a Warriors like hater to the bone. I do not like the Warriors at all. They've sent home my franchise every
get it, bro.
Yeah, I don't like them at all. So I was rooting heavy against them when they won the chip and when the Grizzlies were playing them. And so I'm like, dude, just sit Dillon Brooks down and y'all will win this game. I firmly believe they lost that series because of Dillon Brooks. I think if they sit Dillon Brooks down, they win that, or at least they win that game. I think it was game 6. They win that game. So I did not want him at all. But if you're able to get him to take better shots and maybe the lessened offensive role will like increase what he can, like his percentages, his jumper, like maybe he'll be a little bit better there. And if he like just hones completely in, because it's for as much crap as I give him for how bad he's offensively, the guy is a stud defensively. The biggest Dillon Brooks hater can't take that away from him. He's a really good defender. He's a top 10 POA defender in the league, in my opinion. So like, I can't take that from him. So like, if we're able to take away the bad from him offensively and leave the good, I mean, no, he would be worth the money we gave him. That's a really good player. And I guess if there's anyone who could get him to do that, it would be Ime Udoka.
I was gonna say, yeah.
So maybe it happens, but I mean, I'm not betting too much money on it happening, but we'll see.
Now you have the right coach in place because Ime Udoka will like fight you if you fall out of line.
Literally fight you. He's a ninja.
He's crazy.
He's like, and I also think Dillon Brooks, like, yes, he's outlandish and he's sometimes out of his mind, but like you said, he's always been a plus defender, and that's something your team was kind of lacking. So, and I'm going on a tangent, but also even in Memphis, you could tell like his teammates still mess with him.
Yeah,
to this day, with everything that's said, like with all the crazy antics and everything he said, his teammates still love him. So I think that's always a positive for a player that's always viewed in that manner.
All right, let's move on to Ime. I want to talk about Ime a little bit. Again, I asked you the same question about the free agents in the offseason. Ime Udoka, is he someone who you kind of hire for a rebuild situation? And he feels like someone who you would bring in like for the finishing touches, like the Steve Kerr to the Mark Jackson, not the Mark Jackson. How do you feel about the signing? I guess it's not a bad thing you hire a coach who took his team to championship his first year, right? There's no downside to that.
Yeah, I loved it. I wanted Nick Nurse. That was my preferred coach, but Ime was number 2 on my list. And I think that he brings some things that Nick Nurse did not. So like I'm not like I love the hiring the moment it came through. I did think that it was the right time. Same thing with like bringing in the vets. I think it was time to get serious about trying to win, even though you're not going to win a championship this year. You may not even make the playoffs, but like just like setting the foundation that like, yo, we're serious about winning. That nonsense that y'all was doing these last 3 years that really wasn't even basketball, like that's done. We're about to start taking these next steps to like we may not win this year or next year, but it's coming, and we're laying that foundation for that right now. And so I thought he was a great hire to essentially accomplish that goal. But most importantly is the accountability aspect of it. Like I talked about with Jaylen, our guys just were not held accountable at all. And it was kind of crazy because like the moment we saw them get any ounce of accountability, that's when they looked the best. So I think just having someone in the locker room who, all due respect to Steven Silas, I don't know how much he was respected. I know Ime Udoka is going to like, I don't want to say feared in the sense of the players are like scared of him, but like feared in the sense of like, I don't want to be on Ime's bad side. Like coach is going to fight for me. He's going to rock with me. He's able to connect with those players and I love it. Matter of fact, he's done so already. He's been at a lot of their summer workouts and summer runs. He's been like in the background a lot of them. So he's been locked with the players like all summer. So they're already working on that relationship and the dynamic. But he's going to fight for me. He's going to ride for me. I know coach wants to see me succeed. But if I'm on some BS, coach is going to be like, hey man, that's some BS. Like come sit down, and like you're going to know. He's going to let you know like, yeah, you was doing something you wasn't supposed to do. And I'm gonna get you back on track. So I think that probably I guess in terms of accountability, it may not get any better than Ime Udoka. At least from the guys who were available to us this offseason. And so I love the hire. I think it was the right time. I think he was the right guy. And I believe that he's going to lead us to some pretty high heights.
Yeah, every time I watch the Rockets play, I always say they remind me of like going into LA Fitness and just watching people play pickup basketball. Like there was just no organization, like there was just no rules. It's just kind of like roll the ball on the court,
figure it out.
Just figure it out.
Figure it out.
And I do think that is an indictment on coach, because the coach organizes a team and has some type of order. What do you think Udoka is going to do differently? Obviously, he's going to bring a defensive mentality. We know that already. But offensively, how do you think he's going to organize this so that it can work?
So he already kind of talked about it a little bit more. I think this is how traumatized we are as Rockets fans, that just the simplest of things makes us happy. Unfortunately, what happened with KPJ happened, so he's not a part of the team anymore. But he talked about, same thing with that guy. Like he was a really good shooter for us. And we kind of had him in the James Harden usage. And he's like, hey, why don't we take a guy who's really good at shooting threes and let him shoot more threes? And we're like,
crazy.
Hey, that's a good idea. Like, that's a really good idea. Like, let's do that. And you got this 6'10", 6'11" guy who's pretty good at like when the ball's in his hands, good things usually happen. Let's put the ball in his hands a little bit more. Let him see, really good idea. Like who would have known that like doing that was pretty good, So he's already kind of talked about emphasizing Sengun, the direction he went with bringing a guy like Fred VanVleet, who kind of be more of like an extension of the coach on the court, just being a lot more organized offensively. I don't really know what kind of sets and offense they're going to run. Like I said, I do hope that it's a lot of like Sengun 2-man game with either Fred or Jay. Like I hope that's like the bread and butter of our team. Yeah, all that. Like pick and roll, dribble handoffs, like all that good stuff. I hope that's the way we go with it. But I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But like I said, I trust Ime with it. I think he's going to do the right thing.
Switching to your rookies this upcoming season, you have Amen Thompson and you have Cam Whitmore, which I'm still bitter about because I'm a Nets fan. And you guys picked them right.
What pick were you like? 17, 18?
We were the pick right before you guys picked Cam. We were like right. I
thought the Warriors had the 19.
No.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I guarantee because I was watching the draft and watching him fall. I'm like, we might get Cam. We might, and it's like the Rockets pick Cam. I'm like, well, there goes.
Oh, you were behind us.
Rockets,
right. Yeah, right
Rockets
after
were 20. The Nets were 21 and 22. They had 2 shots at Cam.
They had 2 shots, and I was like, oh. He's drop. This man was supposed to be top 5, top 6, and he's dropping because of whatever issues. I'm like, perfect. perfect. They're like, oh, the Rockets got him. I'm like, they got Amen and Cam? Golly, bro. Like, but yeah, what were your feelings about Amen? Like he played, I think,
It was a
just
game.
one game because he got hurt.
Yeah.
He got hurt, and then Cam got a Summer League MVP. So what are your feelings when you watched him during the summer? And how do you think you're going to help the team during the season?
I wanted him like from the jump. Like that was when they announced that we got pick 4. A lot of people were like Mac. Everybody wanted Wemby. Everybody wanted Scoot. And I wanted those two guys too. But I was like, nah, pick 4. That probably we're going to get Amen Thompson, who I thought was the 3rd best player in the class. Like he was number 3 on my board. So I was like, no, like Amen Thompson. And in some cases, he might even be better for us than obviously not better than Wemby, but like he might be better for us than Scoot with next to Jalen Green. So and I do think that he has probably the highest ceiling in the draft outside of Wemby. And so I was all in on Amen the whole time, and it was because of what we saw in Summer League. Like nothing he did surprised. Like same thing with Tari. Nothing Amen did in Summer League. Like that's who he is. He was really good. Like, his first step, elite. You cannot stay in front of him at all. His finishing ability was there. He was locking guys up. He was locking Scoot up, as good as anybody could. So that was one thing I was really excited about, was having a point guard that tall and athletic who also plays defense. So he showed that. But the biggest thing was the IQ and like the court vision. Like that was why I was so high on him at 6'7" with that athletic. Like to be that smart with that frame and that athleticism. I mean, I don't see how that guy doesn't succeed. And you saw that in that one Summer League game. One of the biggest critiques of him as a prospect was that he played in a league with a bunch of high schoolers, and so he wasn't going to be that good. And it's like, in my opinion, he was the most like veteran-like in summer, like from that at least from that one game. Yeah, he looked like a vet. He didn't look like
he looked prepared.
He game though. He sees the floor like a vet. He plays like a vet.
He didn't look like a rookie at all. Like he'd been there, done that. He was seeing the floor. Guys were getting shots. He was throwing full court dimes.
Yep.
He was throwing dimes in like the tightest of windows. There's a play that I really, really love, and like this, like you only care about it if you're like a basketball nerd. But I love that it was like the very first play. He's driving the ball like on the right side. Defense kind of cuts him off, and Tari Eason's kind of in the corner. Tari should have been a little bit deeper for a 3, but he was kind of like in that mid-range area. And so he swings the ball to the open man in the corner, and Tari kind of steps up, nails a shot. That's assist number 1. But like what I love about it so much is after he passes the ball, he goes and sets a screen for Tari. And it's like, obviously the screen wasn't the difference between Tari getting open and contested shot. Like it didn't really affect it. Like, it wasn't, Tari was gonna make the shot regardless. But like being able to like having the IQ, like, okay, I passed the ball, but I can still be in this play. Like just because the ball isn't in my hands, just because I'm not the one like shooting, I can still impact the game. And like, there's not that many, playmakers in the NBA. Like when you look at the best playmakers, you think of like Luka, Harden, Halliburton, LaMelo. Like those guys aren't setting screens. They're not. After they pass, they're staying at the top of the key, watching the play develop. It's like, nah, bro, I'm gonna go set the screen. I'm gonna do whatever I can to help this team win. And so like I love that about him. And then Cam, you talked about being a Nets fan, and I didn't know y'all were one pick behind us. I would say that's tough, but I'm glad he's in Houston. I'm glad he's in Houston. But what's crazy about Cam is, so the Rockets did like him at 4. That was one thing that I had heard, and it was reported a lot, was that they really liked him at 4. So much so that I was kind of scared that we were going to take him over Amen at one point. I was like, nah, get if Amen's there, take that guy. But so I didn't really want him at 4. I was like very vocal, like, nah, that ain't the guy at 4. Get Amen Thompson at 4. But I remember in the coming in for the draft, like I said, a bunch of reports kept coming out that the Rockets really liked Cam Whitmore, that he was working out in Houston, and they really, really liked him. And then I kept a lot of like mock drafts kept coming out. I think the NBA like had an official mock draft, and I think Cam went like 7 or 8 or something. Like he just kept
projected
dropping.
Yeah, so he was like top 6, top 5, and he just kept going 7, 8, 9. So he just kept dropping. I'm like, what's going on? Like these guys are taking in front of him. These mocks are not better than him. Like why does he keep falling? Like it was like consensus. Like everybody had him falling. And then there was like a bunch of reports that the Rockets were trying to trade up to like pick 10. I'm like, are they trying to go get Cam? Like, is that what's going on? Like, are they trying to trade up? And so I remember we were at the draft party for the actual draft. We were at a draft party in Houston, and The whole night I was saying like trade up for Cam, trade up for Cam, trade up for Cam. I just kept saying it over and over again. And I remember pick 10 came by and I was like, go get him the phone, go get that pick, go drive Cam because he's still there. They didn't do it. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. We got Amin Thompson, whatever. We'll figure it out, right? Pick 15 comes around. I'm like, wait, Cam's still on the board.
He's still there.
He hasn't got drafted. Bro, if you don't pick up the phone and go get like 16 and draft this guy, like what's going on?
Yeah.
16, 17, 18 comes around. In 19, I said I knew 19 was the Warriors. I told you I don't like those guys at all. And I remember I was talking to somebody at the party and I was like, I do not like Golden State at all. And if they are the reason I don't watch Cam Whitmore in a Rockets jersey, like I'm going to be on a different level of pissed. And then I saw that they took Pods. I'm like, wait a second, he's still here at 20. Like he can still get. And then it came out Rockets are going to draft Cam. I was like, bro, there's no way that guy who should have, like in my opinion, should have went top 6, top 7.
Yeah,
was there at 20. And he was like same thing with Amin. He was really good in summer league. His shot creation ability is there. You want to see him take some better shots, of course, but he was able to put the ball on the floor. He was able to score from all 3 levels on the court. His athleticism was on display. Like he was just a force. And I was glad to see him get that honor of summer league MVP because I think he definitely deserved it. And so, yeah, like I really can't say too much about him. Like I think he kind of just speaks for itself, just how to kind of where he is as a player. Oh, and then to answer your question, how they're going to impact the team. I think Amin is gonna get the backup point guard minutes from day one. Like I think he's gonna, especially now that KBJ is not on the team anymore. I think he's gonna be as close to a 6 man as we have now. And yeah, like I love the fact that he's coming off the bench. I think that's gonna be really good for his development and not having like that pressure to be the starting point guard of a team that's trying to win from day one. Like I think that's gonna do good for him. But then with Cam, I don't really know. Cam is a little interesting because I could see him playing. I could also see him just not getting minutes at all. Like I don't really know. I think training camp is going to do no more favors or no bigger favor to anyone than Cam. I think he's like the main guy who will benefit from training camp. So I think if he goes to training camp and he kills it, I think he'll like there is a spot, right? KBJ is gone, so there is a spot on that bench for someone to take it. And I think if Cam is like, nah, y'all got to play me. Like I'm too good to go to the G League. I'm too good to just watch. Yeah. Like the spot probably will be his. But we still have, Jay Sean Tate, Jeff Green. So it might be tough for him to see those minutes. And like if he doesn't see those minutes year one, like I'm not tripping. Like it's cool. He's picked 20.
Will eventually.
Yeah, it's gonna happen eventually. So like I'm not tripping if he doesn't get minutes off rips.
All right, before we let you go, quick prediction. Playoffs, no playoffs, play-in, no play-in. What do you got?
You would have asked me this question 2-3 weeks ago, I would have said play-in. I do think, as unfortunate what happened with KBJ is, I think that he was going to be a really big part of our team. Like I think he was going to be the 6 man. I think that our bench unit was going to be like we weren't going to be a contender or nothing, but I do think our bench unit of like Amin, KBJ, Tari, Jock Lando, I thought that was going to be like a solid, like that was going to be better than our team's second units, and that was going to help us win a lot of games. And losing that does hurt. And so who knows, they might replace him with something. I don't know just yet. But as currently constructed, I think it's going to be tough. The West is really, really stacked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like the Pelicans may not make the playoffs. Like that's how stacked it is right now. So it's going to be tough. I think we can get a 10th seed. I think that's kind of like the high end outcome as a 10th seed. I don't think it's impossible. But it's going to be tough. And I think if you ask me to bet money, I'd say we're probably the 11th seed. We're probably going to miss it by like 2 or 3 games. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Will Fortson, everybody. Thank you for coming on, man, discussing the Houston Rockets. Plug what you want to plug, where they can find you on Twitter, your podcast, your show, anything you want.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram. I started doing TikTok a little bit at Bias Houston.
Nice.
And then, like the biggest thing you can support me on is just my YouTube channel. The Bradeaux and Will Show. I think you can just look at Brad and Will and it'll probably come up on YouTube. But yeah, it's on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. We had Jabari Smith and Alperen Sengun come on the show over the summer. So
that's fire.
Yeah, we were really excited about that. So if you're into Houston sports, particularly the Houston Rockets, one of the best podcasts for that, in my opinion. So if you want to check it out, check it out.
All right, and if you want to follow The Dime, you can on all social media platforms at The Dime NBA. I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez_. He's Kwab at Kwab AKS. Till next week, we'll see you for another episode of The Dime.